Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Everybody, it's Jeff. We're having a good Friday. It's kind of warm here. It's like it was in the mid 40s today, and lots of melting. It's raining right now, so at least the roads are nice and clear, and you know, the ice is being reduced. So we're supposed to get some snow, maybe 2 to 4 inches on Sunday. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a nice day, and I think the sun will peek out a bit more tomorrow, so that'll be nice too. Can't wait till we get more daylight hours over. You know, when it gets dark at about 4:30, I mean, that's too soon. You know, we got to have our daylight. You know. So anyway, today I have some stuff here to talk about, and let me go to this first item here. Trump admits his medical crisis. It's been a long time coming. Just a week after saying he's in perfect health, Donald Trump admitted he should probably be on Ozempic, which he has previously called the fat drug. A few days ago, he even told a photographer to make him look thinner, and he constantly slams publications when they post unflattering photos of him. Not that those are hard to come by, believe me, they're not. Between his focus on his weight and the frequent dementia exams he's reportedly taken often, I'm starting to wonder who's really doing the governing in the White House. Looking at you, Stephen Miller. Trump's White House physician mentioned in his last physical that Trump's active lifestyle is a big factor in his physical well-being, which is weird considering the only place he's really active is on Truth Social. Trump seems to know that, since he said, quote, "No, I have not. I probably shouldn't," unquote, when asked if he had ever taken Ozempic. Add in recent reporting that Trump is taking 325 milligrams of daily aspirin, 4 times higher than the recommended 81 milligram low-dose aspirin used for cardiovascular disease prevention. And there is clearly fear for Trump's health. Yeah, fear. Trump's health isn't the biggest thing he's lied about recently, but it's probably at least one of the top 10. From the random bruising on his hands that the White House said was from shaking hands, to his physician saying he was in peak health, to random doctor's visits and cognitive tests, it's clear that Trump's staff is trying to hide something. What they can't hide is Trump's sheer vanity and inability to make everything about himself. For more updates on this and everything, we'll continue to update you. Oh, boy. Yeah, his health in decline, as we all know. You know, how many people at his age really would be in the best health anyway, okay? Sure, there's some out there, you know, like William Shatner. Okay, you know, and Harrison Ford, but statistically, most people, when they hit 80 years old, they start to go on the nosedive a little, you know, so, you know, so it would be expected. I mean, let me think about it. The guy was really abusive on his physical health when he was younger. I mean, what, the drugs and all that shit that he was on, okay, and now, I mean, he's overweight, he's obviously not eating right, And now he's talking about Ozempic. Well, Ozempic is not a drug you take to lose weight, even though that's one of the side effects. But the Ozempic is for people who have diabetes. They've been trying to get me to take that fucking drug for weeks now. Every time I go to the VA clinic, they say, Ozempic, Ozempic. You know, it's like, no, I'm on metformin. I've been taking that. I've been doing fine with that. I've been watching my, sugar intake. I check my blood sugar level every couple of days. You know, I don't need Ozempic. Why rock the boat? If the boat is sailing just fine, there's no point in fucking rocking it. And so I don't want the Ozempic. Okay, what Ozempic is, you take a shot once a week, okay, and that's supposed to keep your sugar levels low. It also makes you lose weight. Why? I don't know. It just does. But the fact is that people have been taking Ozempic and using it for weight loss, and a lot of people taking it have been complaining about cramping and diarrhea and all this stuff. It's because you're not a diabetic. You shouldn't be taking it because you're not diabetic. You know, whatever normal sugar levels you have, Ozempic is going to reduce them, so your body's going to be sugar less. Okay, and that's not a good thing. You have to be within a certain ballpark of having a blood sugar level. And if you take this, okay, you're going to have problems. Okay, but you know, some people, they're so obsessed with dieting that they don't care. They'll destroy their health just to lose weight, and then they don't know how to keep it off, because the number one reason why they're overweight in the first place is because of bad eating habits. And if they can't change their eating habits, then a diet's not going to help you, no matter what kind of diet it is. Okay, so anybody that's into like Richard Simmons would probably tell you that if he was still around. Okay, you got to change your lifestyle to keep the weight off. You can't go doing the same thing that made you overweight in the first place. So you take all these damn medicines and shit like that. That's not going to help. The minute you get off of it, you're going to put the weight back on. You know, so yeah, it's just, you know, you have to watch what you're eating and how much you eat. Portions are key. You know, you can even have foods that are sweet foods or junk foods, but in smaller portions and not so often. Okay, you can eat anything you want, but you just have to be aware that, you know, don't eat and stuff your face with it, or or finish off the whole bag of chips when you're sitting. Just a little is enough. Okay, but yeah, I mean, like I said, this Ozempic thing here, it's crazy. It's just another fad. People will get over that soon. They're already making offshoots of Ozempic drugs for people to take. You know, it's still the same goddamn thing, but again, the side effects are there. And so okay, what else have we got here? Hold on a second here. All right, J.D. Vance had had an insane announcement in Minneapolis shooting. The Orwellian spin coming out of the Trump White House following Wednesday's disturbing killing of Renee Nicole Good by an ICE agent is reaching particle collider speeds. We are being asked to ignore what our own eyes and ears have quite clearly witnessed on video and accept the authoritarian administration's cockamamie take on the needless tragedy. Donald Trump's faithful number 2 dragged himself before the podium yesterday and proceeded to lecture the media for their quote-unquote shameful coverage of the event, which apparently has upset Vance far more than the actual killing of an innocent mother of 3. How dare the news outlets describe the victim of a senseless killing as, well, the victim of a senseless killing? Yeah, isn't that sort of what they've been doing since this happened? From Kristi Noem to Donald Trump to now J.D. Vance. They've all been coming out in front of the cameras to reimagine how this happened, to convey to their audiences, this is how you're supposed to see this. This is what you've got to think of it as. Despite the videos that are all over the fucking web, okay, they want you to pretend that never happened that way you're seeing it in the video. Videos don't lie. If that was the case, why do we have cops wear body cams? Okay? Why do we see what happens when cops pull over people for drunk driving? Are you going to tell me that that isn't real? That that's fake news? Seriously? You're actually going to tell people that what, I mean, that's Orwellian in every sense of the word. I mean, denying your senses to believe what some jerk off who has a vested interest in you not believing what you're seeing, telling you don't believe what you see. That's not the way it happened, really. You know, it used to be rare and fortunate when a crime is captured on camera. If somebody had, like the JFK assassination, okay, well, let's take that for the very, like, earliest form of it. The fact that we got that film, the Zapruder film, showed exactly how it happened. And from that film, they were able to deduce, you know, how, you know, where the shooting might have occurred, where they could have been standing, from what angle. There was a lot of things they got out of that. If they didn't have that camera, the story about Lee Harvey Oswald being the lone gunman probably would have been what was accepted to this day. But that video showed otherwise, that there was more than one shot here, and there was a lot going on that day that was, you know, the press, you know, really didn't have people on the ground to really report, but the video gave them what they needed to see in order to justify the things they were saying, that this looked like there was more than one shooter here. That means, ergo, a conspiracy had been in plan in order for that to happen. Okay, so there was a time when videos were the gemstone here of getting proof against a crime. Okay, and in courtrooms, video recordings of things were crucial for jurors to see. And we had to accept it. Okay, but now, because everybody has a camera, thanks to these, okay, whenever something happens, people take that, I mean, which is kind of silly in one way, because, you know, when an emergency happens, you should be calling for 911, right? No, what they do is they take out the phone and they press record. Okay, and because so many people, everybody in the neighborhood's got their cameras out recording it, you got video proof from 12, 13, 14 different angles to show exactly what happened, which blows a hole through every fucking story that Kristi Noem, Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance are trying to tell you, okay? They don't want you seeing those videos. If they could, they'd yank all those videos off of YouTube and everywhere else, X, TikTok, whoever's got them. They'd run the rampant of going through everything and just remove all of it. But people, you know, as soon as it's up there, it's downloaded and copied about 1 million times before the first hour is up. So, yeah, it's that way. And, you know, people, when you got an administration who created this fucking problem, okay, ICE, they unleash these dogs out there to do what they're doing. Of course they're going to be scared shitless when something like that happens. Okay? And the first thing they're going to do is go right out there to those goddamn cameras. Okay? First fucking thing they're going to do. And they're going to lie. And they're going to backpedal. And they're going to do everything they can to give people the impression that what you see isn't real. It's fake. Okay? So, J.D. Vance, taking his cues from the rest of the people above him there that have been talking, he's doing the same thing, thinking that, oh, my voice will make the difference. People will believe it if I say it. It's like, Vance, go back into your closet, okay? Yeah. Nobody believed it when it came out of Trump's mouth. Nobody cared when it came out of Kristi Noem's mouth, and no one's really going to give it 2 bits to anything you might say about it either. Your credibility, along with everybody else that works with Donald Trump, is gone. You have no credibility. Trump has lied about every fucking thing since January of last year. Okay? Lied. Well, he's been lying when he was lying about what he was saying in the campaign trail, because he didn't follow through on much of what he said he was going to do. And he has no interest in either. And he's come right out and said that. Okay, so why should we believe anything they say? Why should we believe Kristi Noem? Like I said, I don't watch these fucking people. When they give speeches and stuff like that, I don't even care to listen. I don't care to listen because I know they're trying to hoodwink me in what they say, and I'm not going to fall for it. I'm sorry. When you cry wolf all the fucking time, guess what? Falls on deaf ears. All right? It's just like when, you hear, noise outside and you know what it is, and you just don't care anymore because you know what it is. It's same fucking thing. They're just noise. It's just background noise. Whenever they're talking, it's just background noise. Okay? You just have to keep in mind that these people have a vested interest in lying to you because it only helps them to look better in the face of such a disaster tragedy here that happened the other day. Okay? So it's just... that's the only way really to look at this. Okay, here's this other thing here. Kristi Noem is an idiot. Democratic congressman shreds DHS secretary who, quote, didn't even realize that there was going to be video, unquote, of ICE killing. Representative Seth Magaziner, Magaziner, is that how you say it? Okay, ripped Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to shreds on Thursday for immediately and ridiculously accusing Renee Nicole Good of being a quote-unquote domestic terrorist. When asked what he made of the Gestapo Barbie's take on the tragedy, Magaziner did not hold back. Quote, Kristi Noem's an idiot, right? Like, she went on TV before any of the facts were in. She made up this story on TV about ICE agents trying to dig their truck out of the snow or something, which was clearly false. Like, she didn't even realize that there was going to be video of what happened when she went up and gave a false story. Everybody in the Trump administration lies, but she's not even good at the lie, right? And we've seen that over and over again from this administration. So it would be ridiculous. It would be funny if it wasn't so sad and tragic, because actual people's lives are being ruined and in some cases ended by the lawlessness of the administration. And again, like if they had just done what they said they would do and just focus on people with serious criminal records, no one would be complaining. But they can't help themselves, unquote. That's true. It started off by convincing people that what we're going to do is we're just going to get rid of the criminals in this country, the illegals that were here that are criminals. And everybody in MAGA was like, yeah, let's get rid of it. Not thinking that if you give your government an inch, they're going to take a yard. Okay? You let them go out there and start rounding up illegals because they are quote-unquote criminals, doesn't mean they're going to stop there. Because if now that they get the green light to do that sort of thing, they're going to say, who else can we round up? Okay? And it's like, anybody that they deem they don't like or that looks like a criminal, all of a sudden now becomes a criminal that has to be rounded up and deported. Okay? And now we're rounding up, deporting citizens and shooting them if they try to get in the way of them doing their job for no goddamn reason. No warning, no nothing, just bang, bang, you're dead. Okay? Gestapo. That's what that is. And if it happened somewhere else in the world, they would be the ones called terrorists. Okay? This girl here was not a domestic terrorist. Okay? Christ almighty. She was trying to get around that fucking agent that was standing on the side there on the corner, okay? And there was a truck in front of her. So she was trying to weave around that. She wasn't aiming her vehicle at this guy to try to run him down. Okay? He easily stepped out of the way in order to shoot her through the window on the driver's side, right? If she was aiming for him, he wouldn't have been able to do that. But because she was moving around him, he just stepped back, one step, and he took his gun out, and as she went by, he shot her through the goddamn window. Okay? Well, in order to do that, she could not have been aiming her vehicle at him. So them saying, oh, she had a weapon, using her car as a weapon, and that makes her a domestic terrorist. Yeah. Well, you can look at it any fucking way you want, but the fact is, she's dead. He had the gun that shot her. He ain't no victim. All right? He was never a victim. And, like I said, it's sad that, so many people can be duped in this country. But I think in all candor here, the people that are duped are the same people who voted for this guy. Okay, they're just cultists. Anybody that defends what happened, they're just cultists. Okay, it's no different than the people that went to Jonestown and trying to tell them you're going to end up dead there. And they would just, no, they have to live through it and find out for themselves. Okay, these people in MAGA have to live through this and find out for themselves. Some of them have, okay, and they're turning on Trump. There's a lot of them turning on Trump, okay. And the thing is that, there's still some that haven't, because nothing has happened to them yet, all right, that Trump has instituted. But the time is going to come very quickly, okay? Things are going to get worse. And that means, more people in MAGA are going to turn on Trump, okay? And hopefully it'll reach a point of critical mass where there'll be an easy movement to get Trump impeached and convicted and kicked out. Maybe serve time if we're lucky. Because he's got a number of crimes under his belt that he hasn't answered for yet, frankly. And so he deserves to be sitting in prison right now, not in the White House. He actually has there's every justification now to put him in prison behind bars for the remainder of how long he's got to live there with his old Ozempic there. All right, so, yeah. So, anyway, let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
As Trump implodes and Republican support is appearing to crumble, I have to ask this question. Who is Megyn Kelly and what does she stand for? Because the shit she is saying right now, I don't get it.
He's very interesting and he's very smart. And on a lot of things, there is value to be derived from that guy's messaging. I'm sorry, but he actually has a lot of things he talks about that you're like, this is not a bad point about our country.
Okay, now there's a slight chance you don't know Nick Fuentes. He's a right-wing provocateur. Fuck that. He's a woman-hating, anti-Semitic, racist piece of shit on his best day.
A lot of women want to be raped, but there's like a lot of women that really want a guy to beat the shit out of them.
White people are every single bit justified in being racist.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool.
Now, I apologize for making you listen to that, but let's contrast those words to Kelly's comments.
Things he talks about that you're like, this is not a bad point about our country.
That's like saying Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't a bad guy because he had good table manners. I mean, how do you reconcile those comments? Well, maybe the truth is Kelly is simply bad news. Megyn Kelly, who initially stood up to Trump.
Trump is a sexual predator.
Well, Megyn collapsed like a shitty lawn chair in a hurricane. And the truth is, she's always had racist tendencies, which is a nice way of saying she's racist.
It's racist to have a white Santa. And by the way, for all you kids watching at home, Santa just is white.
Now, who the fuck argues over the skin color of an imaginary character? Well, racists do. Oh, yeah, and this too.
To change. Jesus was a white man too, but it's like...
Fuck me, Megyn. Come on, Jesus was black. He lived in the Middle East. This ain't a Hallmark Christmas show. But what I don't get is this. Is this the real Megyn Kelly? I mean, I only say that because if you haven't noticed, Republicans are finally taking the lead of Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney and abandoning Trump's craziness.
I was called a traitor.
Just today, 5 Republican senators joined Democrats in a resolution opposing Trump's attack on Venezuela, as well as his threats against Panama, Colombia, Cuba, Canada, and Greenland.
Mr. Trump
Trump, fuck off. But instead of arguments with substance, Kelly hangs around the Republican landfill of topics like this.
White supremacy, that's the problem. This is a hoax.
Is she just evil on Trump's level, or is she currently enrolled at a junior college level of evil? I'm truly vexed. But let's go back to Nick Fuentes. I don't know if you're aware, but he had dinner with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and it's no secret Trump harbors the same racist and anti-Semitic thoughts.
And white people are done being bullied.
Discriminating against and just denigrating white people.
So seeing everything I've shown you, what conclusion should I draw? All I can say is this: if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, and it goes on TV complaining about black people every single fucking day, it's a racist duck.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
Burning, my whole body's burning, the ocean is falling, it's falling. Burning.
This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident.
A woman is dead after an ICE agent used lethal force, and instead of transparency, you are being fed bullshit. This happened under the authority of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement by an administration that has told you time and time again that cruelty is policy. Under leaders that believe that they and those in uniform should be immune from accountability. And we can't talk about what happened yesterday without talking about the pattern. ICE agents have been terrorizing immigrants in this country. But it didn't stop there, right? Because then they're terrorizing and harassing U.S. citizens that fit the descriptions of their targets. Something that our very own Supreme Court said they're allowed to do. Citizens who are funding this government with their own money through tax dollars are paying to be harassed, detained, and interrogated. Countless of Black lives have been taken by law enforcement in daylight, on camera, with witnesses. And time again, we are told to wait, to be patient, to trust the process. We are fed excuses and justifications. And then you have Kristi Noem, a woman who shot and killed her own puppy and managed to explain it away, is now coming on here and misleading and flat out lying to the public. They are not protecting you. They are protecting their power. Law enforcement authority does not include being able or having the right to kill without consequence. Federal badges are not a license to execute people on the street. If this happened in any other country, ICE would be considered a terrorist organization by the United States government. You know that, right? A bunch of untrained, masked, armed militants going around and terrorizing communities. They told you they were just going to go out and get criminals. They lied to you. And when they didn't stop there, you said nothing. And they're lying to you now, and it is imperative that you do something. I have said time and time again to learn from history because it always teaches us something. And with fascism, there is always a next group. It never stops with the first people that are targeted or the first lie that was told in order to maintain law and order. It doesn't stop with the first death explained away as necessary. What begins with the dehumanization of one community always ends with a system that doesn't recognize humanity at all. Every authoritarian regime begins with them telling the public whose deaths do not matter. And that regime manages to survive because too many people believe them. If this can be buried, If this can be lied about, if this can be waved away as procedure, then no one is safe from a government who has decided that some lives are disposable. Ironically enough, Black Lives Matter always meant all lives matter, but you were just too fucking hateful to see it. Because if they could do it to them, they will come and they will do it to you. You guys, outrage isn't optional here. It's the bare fucking minimum. If you stay silent when the states decide who is disposable, don't be surprised when you are next. They are daring you to accept this. And refusing to just might be the last power you still have.
Oh my God, ICE are totally the victims. That's why they're the ones with the tactical gear and have the live ammunition. Renee Good should be alive right now, and so should the others who federal agents have shot and killed in this past year. At least 3 others that we know of. Either people who ICE was hunting, or people who were trying to document ICE's recklessness. Then the face filler Fuhrer, or Marlboro Melania, spins those incidents to make it appear like that person was aggressing upon them. But the cases are paper thin, like the one against Marimar Martinez, who somehow survived after she was shot 5 times while driving around Brighton Park, Chicago, warning the neighborhood that immigration was coming. The agent that shot her said, quote, "Do something, bitch," and then opened fired. He has never been held accountable, but she was charged with a felony in a case that, oh, guess what? Fell apart in November because it was a lie. Also in Chicago, a father was killed. Silverio Villegas Gonzalez was killed after he dropped off his kid at a daycare. ICE accused him of dragging an agent with his car when body cam footage shows that same agent later saying, yeah, it was nothing major. Yeah. Nothing major that you took the dad of 2 children, ages 3 and 7. Then on New Year's Eve, an off-duty ICE agent in Los Angeles killed Keith Porter after the agent apparently got mad that Keith was firing his gun into the air to celebrate New Year's Eve. And look, I know Dog Killer Barbie gave you a shiny badge, but you can't actually do that. That is actually murder. And that agent hasn't even been compelled to testify by local investigators because of the limitations on federal agents. Whatever happened to states' rights? That's on top of the 3 people who died trying to save themselves from the fate of these horrid detention centers where abuse is rampant. A farm worker in California died when he fell from a greenhouse, and 2 other men, a day laborer and a gardener, were killed in traffic after trying to escape. But of course, I know what you're going to say. They're hardened criminals. Yes, and I know they've done terrible things like trying to landscape your overgrown lawn. ICE and their apologists relish in this violence. Some of them are in the comments right now using their real names to defend it. We have to realize that this administration has deputized, cankled Confederates and allowed them to treat the law the same way they treat their alimony payments. Ignore it. And the question isn't if they'll keep killing, but when. And what are we going to do to stop them? How will we hold them accountable, not just in the immediate, but in the years to come?
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
everybody. Welcome back. All right, here's this other article here from Mediaite, written by Alex Griffin. Lawmakers ask judge to force Epstein files release. We do not believe the DOJ will do it. Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie asked a federal judge on Thursday to appoint a special master to compel the release of the Epstein files, which the Justice Department was legally bound to release in full back in December of 19th. President Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was co-sponsored by Massie and Khanna last year. The act created a hard deadline for the release of the files, which the DOJ met by releasing only 12,285 documents. Trump's attorney General Pam Bondi said her department needed more time to process and redact the 2 million remaining files. Quote, as the leads of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, we have urged and grave concerns about DOJ's failure to comply with the act, as well as the department's violations of this court order, the duo wrote to Judge Paul E. Engelmeyer. Quote, put simply, the DOJ cannot be trusted with making mandatory disclosures under the act, unquote, they argue, adding, while we believe that criminal violations have taken place and must be addressed, the most urgent need now is for the DOJ to produce all the documents and electronically stored information required by the act. In its November 26, 2025 letter, the DOJ represented to this court the categories of documents in its possession, much of which has not been produced. Thus, in our capacity as amici curiae, we suggest, pursuant to its inherent authority and federal rule of Civil Procedure 53, this court appoint special master and or independent monitor for the purpose of ensuring all the documents and electronically stored information are immediately made public to be in accordance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We also suggest the independent monitor be given authority to notify and prepare reports to this court about the true nature and extent of the document production and if improper redactions or other improper conduct is taking place. We also suggest this court compel testimony from the person or persons most knowledgeable from the DOJ SDNY office about the production that has been made, the pending productions, and the representations that have previously been made to this court. Absent an independent process, as outlined above, we do not believe the DOJ will produce the records that are required by the Act and what it has represented to this court. Yeah, no shit. Of course they're not going to release this information. And the idea that Pam Bondi is sitting there saying, wow, we got 2 million files left. Do we know that for sure? She says 2 million files. How do we know there's 2 million? How do we know there isn't more than that or less than that? Or is this just another stall tactic? You know what I'm saying? Pam Bondi probably knows more, or is probably the first one to know what's in that stuff. That means she knows what can hurt Trump. She knows. She fucking knows what's in those files. Or at least, knows what the people are trying to find. She knows what's in there. All right. The fact that they have to redact and process these files only says, yeah, we know a lot of stuff in those 2 million remaining files can really, implicate Trump in a great many crimes. Okay. And, or, whatever. It might reveal other names or something like that. Whatever the reason is, what they want to release to the public is not going to be as dirty as we would otherwise see if they just did not redact or hide anything. Okay? And of course you can't ignore the fact that there's people that have come out, victims, who have come out and told their stories already. So, whatever they're trying to redact, you know, much of the redactions probably could be discovered what's underneath the, you know, what I'm saying, you know, they could find out from other people what's being redacted. You know, if they're trying to hide statements or whatever the hell it is they're hiding. So, yeah, this fucking Epstein mess is not going to go away, no matter what Trump or the administration does. And the fact that, you know, we've got, you know, wars and rumors of wars happening, as they say, and you've got, you know, things happening in our own country to try and distract us from these Epstein files. These are incidents, I think, that the administration hopes will, you know, migrate us away from continuing to pursue this. But no, we can't, because those crimes are there, and there are people involved in those crimes who are not under any suspicion at this point, which means this crime continues even as Trump is president. This is still going on, this sex trafficking thing, because there's people who we don't know yet because they're sitting on Pam Bondi's desk, the names, that are out there right now continuing to do this thing. And until we get to the truth, we're never going to know who these people are. We'll never actually stop this crime from continuing because one of their own is sitting in the fucking White House running cover for everybody else. Okay? That's what this is really, how we should see this, as a criminal protecting other criminals. Okay? So that's the way I look at it anyway. All right, here's this other troubling story here from Mediaite, written by Tommy Christopher, entitled "Trump Ally Makes Stunning Declaration That Disobeying Feds Means You Can Be Killed. Obey and you get to keep your life." I kind of mentioned about this yesterday. Trump ally Representative Wesley Hunt, Republican from Texas, made a stunning declaration when he told Newsmax, of all places, of course, that only by obeying commands from federal agents do you, quote, get to keep your life, unquote. Shock and outrage swept the political media and the nation on Wednesday after U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement shot and killed a woman in Minneapolis during a hotly disputed incident that was caught on camera. Trump Department of Homeland Security rushed to label 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good as a, quote, domestic terrorist, unquote, whose killing was justified, and President Donald Trump himself attacked the woman. But video and police statements contradicted their version of events. Hunt was a guest on Wednesday night's edition of Newsmax TV's Carl Higbie Frontline, during which he took things right to 11. He flatly stated that if you follow orders, quote, then you get to keep your life, unquote, and made many false or evidence-free assertions. And here's a little bit of a transcript here that was copied here. Carl Higbie said, "Congressman, you know terrible that an American citizen lost their life. However, we now just found out from Secretary Kristi Noem that this person apparently had been chasing these ICE agents, harassing them all morning." Wesley Hunt said, "The bottom line is this: when a federal officer gives you instructions, you abide by them, and then you get to keep your life. And it is clear that she tried to use her vehicle as a weapon, mow over an ICE agent, and now she is dead. And her death is tragic, but at the end of the day, it was completely avoidable if she would have simply followed the commands of the ICE agents. But what really is more disturbing to me is Governor Walz's comments about using the National Guard to keep the federal government ICE agents out of his state. He has now gone full Jefferson Davis, and that's what I would call civil war. This is a problem. The left always does this. They always clamor for more violence. They always clamor for more rioting. They've already burned to the ground. At the end of the day, the violence must stop. We must respect law enforcement, respect this president, and that said, quote, I am going to clamp down on illegal immigration, unquote. And Minneapolis has become accessible for illegal immigration, and we're not standing for it any longer." Yeah. these kind of words from this guy here, Wesley Hunt, are the reasons why countries end up in civil wars, is because they love to exert their fucking authority to an extreme level that avoids accountability, that avoids due process, that avoids the rules of engagement, that avoids all these things that every other law enforcement agency in this country abides by. He figures that we shouldn't have to abide by any rules. That if we tell you to get on your knees and suck that guy's dick, then you have to do exactly that. And if you stop, he has every right to shoot you. Okay? That's what this fucking guy's saying. That's, if you follow the logic, that's what he's saying. Okay? And the fact that this is coming out of a Republican's mouth is really no fucking surprise. Okay? I mean, I told you about what they are. They're not Republicans anymore. This is an extreme cult. That's what this is. Extremist cult is what they've become. Republican is more like a dinosaur name, okay, for what the right wing has devolved into now. If you're still on that right wing, you're either left behind because you're not extreme enough, okay, or you've left the extreme side and have decided to be independent or whatever, okay? But what's left constitutes, an extreme way of thinking. And everybody out there that's still in this cult is talking like this fucking asshole here. Okay? They're all sounding just like that. That's like Adolf Hitler on steroids. Okay? And I feel like, what more do we have to hear from people like that to understand that we're being boxed in a corner here, and we can either sit here and not do anything and watch how the walls keep closing in on us, or we can say, you know what, it doesn't have to be this way. We can fight back. And he can call it anything he wants, violence or whatever. They've created violence. Who's the one doing the shooting and killing here? It's them. They're the ones causing all this violence that he says. And then he says, oh, and the Democrats are going to increase. Violence begets violence. That's a fact of life, my friend. Okay? You find that everywhere in the world. You create a violent situation and it's going to be responded to with violence. You can't expect people to just roll over and hand you a rose, okay, after you kill somebody. Did this guy, this ICE agent, think that people were going to walk up to him and shake his hand for the job he did the other day by shooting that woman? Did he expect that? Did he expect a medal for having done that? I mean, that's the way these people on the right are talking. Like, you people shouldn't be mad at him. You should be praising him for having killed this innocent woman. Okay? You should praise her. Praise him. I'm sorry. You should praise him for what he did. What's the matter with you people? He's an American. Really. That's what passes for being an American today. Shooting innocent people. Well, I suppose in some regard you could probably say it's true, because we've had problems of shootings in this country for years and people get mad, but nothing is ever done. So maybe that is what it means to be an American now, is to be, a cold-blooded killer. And now that we have people that are, now we got people defending them. And what do you think that makes them? Okay, what do you call somebody like Wesley Hunt who is out there defending a cold-blooded killer? I'm sorry if some of you out there watching can't wrap your head around what I'm saying. And if that's the case, then I feel sorry for you, because clearly you don't have the mental capacity to keep up with me here about this, because you just don't understand. You probably never will until something like this happens to you. Till somebody comes up and shoots your wife for no goddamn good reason, or one of your kids, and maybe then that'll open the door, and that door you keep locked with a key because you don't want to see what's behind. Maybe then that'll smarten you the fuck up, okay? Maybe then that'll smarten you the fuck up. And then it'll be too late, okay, to try and take action to stop this from happening again, okay? Instead of waiting for that day to happen, why don't you get active, smarten up now, and join the rest of us in trying to put an end to this shit? Okay? Why wait? Why gamble on someone's life, even your own? Why do that? I mean, the odds are already too high in this country that most of us will probably die by gunshot anyway. So why avoid that reality when you're trying to do something right? Okay? If doing something right means you're going to get shot earlier in life, well, so be it. Okay? Because you're not going to live to a natural long life in America. That's what people in other countries are figuring out about us, is if you come to this country on vacation, chances are you're not going to come home from that vacation. You might end up getting shot. You go to one of these places like Disney World or something like that where the violence is up high, okay, or in other big cities in this country that people like to come and see, chances are you might get shot. You might not come home. Okay? So, like I said, what else is there? I mean, you want to watch your life deteriorate more, little by little each day as Trump does what he does. I mean, and at the end of all this, you're miserable and you're unhappy, okay? And the only people that are happy are the minority in this country, the billionaires, okay? They're the only ones still enjoying life in America. The rest of us wish we were living somewhere else. So, like I said, I hope people out there are really, what I just read, remember that. Okay, remember what Wesley Hunt said about this, because he's actually covering for a goddamn murderer. He's a politician covering for a fucking murderer. Okay, here's this other story here. Trump prepares Republicans for wipeout in 2026. During a softball sit-down with Fox News' Sean Hannity, the MAGA cult leader openly admitted his party's prospects in the upcoming midterms are not good. Without a shred of self-awareness, the wannabe dictator rhetorically wondered aloud, quote, "There's something down deep psychologically with the voters that they want maybe a check or something," unquote. Oh, yeah, you think? It really shouldn't come as a surprise that Americans might increasingly feel the need to reel in Trump's runaway megalomania, which he himself summed up in an interview with the New York Times published just yesterday. When asked if there were any constraints or limitations to what he could get away with on the world stage, Trump literally said aloud, quote, "Yeah, there is one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me. I don't need international law," unquote. That ain't the rhetoric of a public servant, folks. That's unadulterated Mad King gibberish. Yeah, okay. And the fact that he knows that what he's doing is hurting all the fucking other Republican politicians around him doesn't seem to matter a hill of beans. Okay? He don't care. All he cares about is how people think of him. And the fact that he thinks maybe they want to check, he thinks buying people off is going to, all of a sudden, oh, everything's fine. Go ahead, start World War III as long as I get that check, Is that how he thinks? I mean, come on. You see where this kind of thought is coming from? His business life. That's the way he handled everything when he was a businessman, buying everybody off, okay? It's not a wonder, that his practice of doing business got him, bankrupt 7 different fucking times in his life, okay? The guy creates empires to destroy. And being in charge of the biggest one on the planet, he intends to destroy it too. And he thinks people can be bought off so they won't care that the country's destroyed. Well, he wouldn't care anyway. He ain't got much longer left to live anyway, truth be known. He probably won't even finish this term if his health is as bad as I suspect. Okay? But the fact is, this man doesn't care. Straight up, he don't care. He just doesn't care. I don't even know why he does these interviews with, Fox and all them, and he says this shit. I guess he figures that if he admits what he thinks to somebody like Sean Hannity, then they won't turn around and use that against him and say, oh my God, he's going to, okay, they won't do it. They'll just let that roll right over their head, okay, and don't even challenge it. Don't even, say anything about it, okay, because they make it look good. By not challenging him in it, then everybody will watch and will say, well, I guess it doesn't mean anything because Sean's not going to corner him on that point like we used to do in the older days of news journalism, stuff like that. We used to challenge people on their fucking beliefs and stuff like that, to find out what they're really up to. You ain't gonna get that at Fox, especially from Trump being on there, and Newsmax, of course. You're not gonna get that. It's all softball, like they said. These questions are just little questions, things that a 2-year-old would ask. Okay, these are questions that aren't meant to engage the president or to get him to say anything important. No, but yet in his own way, Trump does let out certain things that are important to kind of remember and to quote, because they do reveal the narcissism within. They do reveal the lack of ethical clarity and morality that this man has within, in his answers. And that's why, if you had paid attention at all about this man in his first term, you would have known that this guy was not the guy to be running for president for a second time. But you see, nobody really cared, I guess, or maybe they thought Biden was so much worse than Trump. And if you listen to Fox News and the rest of the right-wing media, you would have believed that. But they were spinning everything which way they could to make Biden look bad. The guy was doing great things in this country, okay? He kept the country going. We'd be worse when Trump had picked up to be president if Biden did all the things that the right wing was accusing him of, okay? If he had done all those things, our country would have been way worse and Trump would just kill us off. But the fact that, he got control of the government and it was on an uphill climb, okay, and he tries to take credit for that. Now that it's on a downhill climb, now he turns around and blames Biden for that, even though he ain't president anymore. Trump is. Okay, so this is what you get. This is what you get with Trump. It's just all about me, okay? Like a little kid. And like I said, his credibility, along with everybody else that works with him, is gone. There is no credibility. Nobody has any reason to listen to a fucking word that man says. I don't care how many interviews he does on Fox or how many interviews he does with people like Nick Fuentes or, these other folks. I don't care. What he's got to say is of no importance to me. I only care about what he does. All right? When he does something, that's when I wake up and look at what he's doing, okay? But what he plans on, what he says he's going to do or what he wants to do, I mean, that's just bullshit, hyperbole, and frankly, it's boring, okay? If I wanted to watch science fiction, I'd tune into Star Trek or something like that and watch that instead. But I just don't see that, Trump really has this country's best interests in mind, and especially because he has no love for it. And you would think he would, being that he's lived in it for so long. But I guess he's walked around with such a chip on his shoulder about this country that for him, it seems like the ultimate payback for years and years of being unhappy. Hitler was unhappy too with his life before he took over in Germany. He wasn't a happy man either. I mean, if you read, the way he started off, okay, in life, he's abused at home by his father, and he goes off to war, World War I or whatever, comes back and he's trying to make it as an artist and he can't make it as an artist, and he was homeless for the longest time, and destitute. This guy was a chip on his shoulder, and because he had a big mouth and he knew how to say things that he knew stirred people up, like racism and shit like that, that was it. The guy's a fucking genius. We need him, okay? And it's the same fucking story right now. Same fucking story. We are living under a remake, a reboot of that time. And Donald Trump is playing the role of Adolf Hitler. In fact, the spirit of Adolf Hitler probably lives in that motherfucker. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is where we are here. This is our country's version of that. And are we going to learn anything from what happened in the past that led the world to World War II? Or are we going to take the steps to put our foot down, stand in the way of ICE, prevent them from doing what they've been asked to do, okay? And actually motivate our goddamn representatives to start the fucking impeachment process, because they got more fucking ammunition to get that ball going now than they need, okay? They got plenty to go on, okay? Plenty. And that's what I'm saying, is that there's no need to wait now. We have everything we need to nail this motherfucker, okay? Going back years, we can nail him. You know? We can charge him with all kinds of shit. And Christ, this past year, he's done tons of shit already to warrant the impeachment. So, you know, don't tell me, we can't, we don't have the fucking, the votes and all. If you don't have the votes, then nobody believes that this guy should be impeached. So that means all of you are fucking protecting a criminal. So you all should be fucking removed from your offices. Every last one of you. Democrats too. All of you should be removed. I don't care what your name is. All right? If you're not pushing to have this guy out, then you're part of the fucking problem. We need to do a fucking house cleaning from the top down, right to the goddamn janitors, for Christ's sake. All right, that's it for today. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. And subscribe, comment, and share. And keep your ears open for any health issues out there, people. It's the season. And, you know, help each other out. You know, be there for somebody. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot to try to help somebody out, you know, if they need it. So, you know, just try, for God's sake. You know, we have to begin somewhere to know what's right and wrong. We have to exude that image so other people can see that and say, oh, well, that's how you're supposed to act like, okay? So just try. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.